Before I start, yes, Croatia has been under foreign powers' control since 1102, 816 years to be precise. Long story short, that year, Koloman King of Hungary forced his way on Croatian throne, starting a personal union between two countries. Then, in 1527, as Ottomans marched north, Ferdinand Habsburg of Austria was elected as the King of Hungary and Croatia. By the 18th century, country was fully reconquered, and with support for Empress Maria Theresa, Croatia received autonomous status within Hungary. In 1809, territory was reorganized into Illyrian provinces of Napoleonic France, leading to a national revival and reintroduction of Croatian language in 1840s. In 1867, Croatia restored its autonomy as a part of the Kingdom of Hungary, within a new dualistic Austro-Hungarian Empire, with Dalmatia province remaining fully under Austrian control. After Austro-Hungarian loss in the Great War, Croatia, along with Slovenia, Dalmatia, and Bosnia, finally regained its independence on 29th of October 1918, as a central part of the state of Slovenes, Croats, and Serbs, and that's the country we'll talk about today. By the end of 1918, Austro-Hungarian monarchy suffered from Slavic people unrest within the empire borders, due to the growing popularity of pan-Slavic groups and Hungarian veto against the reorganization of the empire into a tripartite state, with Croatian part being equal to Austrian and Hungarian one. It led to the change of Croatian and Slovenian perspective away from advocating for united empire to joining the Serbs, living in some parts of Croatia and condominium of Bosnia and Herzegovina, in their efforts of unification with Serbian state, fulfilling the idea of united Yugoslavia. Thus, the Corfu Declaration was signed on 20th of July 1917. It stated that the King of Serbia will become a constitutional monarch, but there was no agreement on whether the new unified state should have a centralized government or be a federal state with Croatian delegates advocating for the second option. Nevertheless, the vague treaty was signed, as both sides sensed the incoming threat posed by Italian expansionism. On the 2nd of March 1918, a meeting was held in Zagreb between the Party of Rights of Ante Pavelić and Slovene People's Party of Anton Koršec, ending with signing of the Zagreb Resolution, stating that Slovenes, Croats, and Serbs of Austro-Hungarian Empire, referred as the three named people, will endorse the unification and creation of Yugoslav state when possible. Also, committee established the National Council of Slovenes, Croats, and Serbs as the future interim government. During summer 1918, smaller regional councils were created in the cities of Split, Sušak, and Ljubljana. With autumn and imminent end of World War I, Croatian People's Peasant Party and the Serb People's Radical Party agreed to join the National Assembly, which was established on the 5th of October 1918 in Zagreb, taking control over the territories of Croatia, Dalmatia, Slovenia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Vojvodina, and Istria. On the 14th of October 1918, Austria asked for an armistice and tried to win favors by creating a trialist monarchy, but it was too little, too late. Thus, the Država Slovenaca, Hrvata i Srba was officially proclaimed on 29th of October 1918, with Anton Koršec as president and two vice presidents, Serb Svetozar Pribicevic and Croat Ante Pavelić. The new state included all South Slav territories of the former empire, with the state of Vojvodina and Srem County joining Serbia on their own. In the same day, the Croatian Sabor, being a de jure power in Croatia, declared the end of the union with Hungary of 1102. Also, fun fact, Emperor Karl I gave all Austrian fleet to the National Council, so Entente powers won't have it. But soon most ships were sunk by the Italian Navy, and the rest split between USA and France. On the 4th of November 1918, Austria-Hungary signed the Armistice of Villa Gisti, allowing Italy to occupy Istria and parts of Dalmatia promised to them by the Treaty of London, but claimed by Serbia as a part of Yugoslavia. Also, it's worth to mention the Lipovchak affair, when General Anton Lipovchak allegedly led the conspiracy to seize power and bring back Habsburg monarchy rule somewhere in November. As fun as it may sound, it was most certainly fabricated to quicken the unification process under the pretext of foreign interference of Hungary or Italy, or even Bolsheviks, trying to bend Croats to their will. And so, on the 23rd of November, the National Council declared unification of the state of Slovenes, Croats and Serbs with the Kingdom of Serbia and Montenegro into a unified Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes. Interestingly, Stjepan Radic's HPSS participated in the National Council, but started to back off, advocating against unification and restructuring itself into a pro-independence Croatian Republican Peasant Party, which would lead to him being arrested. Nevertheless, on the 1st of December 1918, Regent Alexander of Serbia proclaimed two countries' unification. The first blood was shed soon after, as on the 5th of December, during the celebrations in Zagreb, a group of dissatisfied citizens and members of Home Guard regiments organized a procession in support for an independent Croatian Republic and the Communist Revolution. Soon, government forces started firing from the surrounded houses, killing 15 and wounding 20 more. On the same night, the Zagreb garrison was dismantled. On the 20th of December 1918, united government was created with majority of seats taken by Serbs, making it clear that centralization was an only option. But for now Croats had more important problems, the most menacing of them being Italy. With international forces occupying Dalmatian port cities and Italians controlling Istria, new borders were yet to be decided. But the young kingdom was lucky, as France and Britain were determined to give Italy as little as possible. In 1919, Gabriele D'Annunzio, leading a group of war veterans, seized the cities of Fiume and Sushak, hoping to force Italian government into annexation of this region. At the same time, Allied forces of USA, France and UK had to withdraw from the city, forcing Italy to pressure D'Annunzio and install a blockade, as he was not making it easier for Italian delegation. He rejected the idea of the plebiscite, even though most population was Italian, and declared creation of the Italian Regency of Carnaro on the 8th of September 1920. Still, it didn't help, as on the 12th of November, Italy and the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes signed the Treaty of Rapallo. Italy received all of Istria and the Snizhnik Plateau, returning all of Dalmatia to the Yugoslav state, keeping only the city of Zadar and the few nearby islands. As for Fiume, both sides agreed on establishing independent Free State of Fiume, becoming an international port. D'Annunzio was furious with such a development and declared war on Italy, only to surrender 5 days later, followed by deployment of Italian troops due to sporadic fascist takeovers up until Mussolini took power in the mainland as dissatisfaction with the war gains grew. Croats were not happy as well. Not only they were left without important cities of Fiume, Sushak and Zadar, Serbian government created the state of Dalmatia on the new territories, leaving Croats with even less power than before. By mid-1919, armed force finally dealt with the green color, the daughters of an Austrian army who carried out raids and robberies mostly in Croatia since 1916 and were operating from nearby forests, which is where their name came from. Still, it didn't really help, as dissatisfaction with Serbian policies of centralization grew, resulting in a peasant revolt of September 1920, when gendarmerie was sent to suppress it, leading to at least 25 deaths. 2 months later, the election was held. Anti-system HRSS received around 15%, showing massive discontent in the northern territories, since it received more than 50% of the votes in Croatian lands. Nevertheless, next year constitution project establishing a unitary monarchy was passed, barely receiving enough votes. In 1923 elections, HRSS already received around 21.9%, now having 70 seats out of 315, still being in opposition. But the new 1924 once again started with the equation of humor. Benito Mussolini, new leader of Italy, decided to deal with it once and for all, signing the Treaty of Rome with the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes on the 27th of January 1924. This small free state was dissolved. Yugoslavs gained control over Sushak and the northern parts of the territory, while Italy received the City of Fiume and the coastal corridor. Next year, though, was different, with HRSS receiving around 22% in February elections, yet this time they were actually invited into a coalition government, but for a price of actually accepting the monarchy. And yes, party now called Croatian People's Party, or HSS, had little real influence with this coalition, and so they left the government in the January of 1927. Even though Radic achieved certain unification of Croatian lands and stopped Italian immigration to Dalmatia, only 16% of voters supported him in September elections. But it didn't matter anymore, as on the 20th of June 1928, a Serbian politician from Radical Party shot several HSS parliament members, Radic among them. Arguably, that's the point when Yugoslav state lost any Romanian legitimacy among Croats. As Xavier Sanda-Gielski later wrote in his novel Betrayed Ideals, we threw the parts of the country and the people refined by European language and Western culture into the clutches of Eastern, Old Turkish barbarism and Byzantine corruption. In a word, Oriental evil, terrible, terrible sin. Those words nicely summarize feelings of most Croats in the first years since the creation of the Yugoslav state: dissatisfaction, injustice, and betrayal of the ideal of equality for all South Slavic peoples.